Happening now, flooding concerns continue as water rises, threatening area roadways and even in some places, homes. We have the latest from Creeks and Streams, and Hochul secures the nod to run as the Democratic candidate for governor. We hear from her and a longtime political ally. Plus, Winter Festival prep, we have the latest last-minute efforts underway to get the Ice Castle ready for tonight's lighting in Mayville.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now. This is WNY News Now with live breaking news.
Flooding this morning has caused troubles for some area drivers. Thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. We start with breaking weather news. I'm Justin Gould. The National Weather Service in Buffalo is maintaining a flood warning for parts of western New York, including Cattaraugus, Chautauqua, and Erie counties. Officials say flooding of rivers, creeks, and streams and other low-lying and or flood-prone locations is happening. Streams are expected to continue to rise, will remain high during the day from excessive runoff from snow melt and rainfall. This is some video from Randolph, where water along the Little Conowongo Creek rose just an inch from the bridge at about 9 a.m. today. The bridge still remaining open at this hour. Now, we've reached out to the state DOT to see if they plan to close that thoroughfare. Haven't heard back yet. Low-lying areas near Jamestown, like Route 60 in Kyantone, also flooded early this morning. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joining us live now with more on the flooding and these impressive viewer images and videos that we're getting from people all across the area, Dakota.
Yeah, and is the main concern with the flooding. It's obviously in combination with the snow melt, but you also have to remember a lot of these streams and creeks and rivers have built up ice over the winter, and so obviously you see these ice chunks flowing down the river here, and this is what causes ice jams. As the ice breaks apart and it turns into big hunks, it kind of gathers up at one end, kind of where you get a narrow end, and then that's where the water level rises because it can't obviously flow through the ice jam that is there. And this was in Kyantone this morning of some of the flooding that ultimately turned to ice. And this was the second part of what we told you through the last couple of days, how this was going to become an issue, how as the temperatures drop below freezing, ultimately, all that excess water runoff was going to freeze over and cause some icy conditions for the morning commute. As Justin mentioned, we still do have this flood warning in effect through tomorrow morning, and this is again for the potential for, again, a few more ice jams possible. And also of note, there's a winter storm warning out for Erie County, but that expires at the top of the hour. And really, I think the main winter storm issues are over down there, but the river's still running high. The latest water level at 11.5 feet at Salamanca. It is forecast to crest at minor flood stage at 12.2 feet, and then it will start to recede as we go into early next week. But we still do have a few snow showers around across the eastern southern tier. These are going to taper off through the day, so much colder today, only 15 to 24, but river flooding is still going to become an issue as the ice starts to, again, continue to flow down with the wind shifting west 5 to 15. Now, another shot of winter comes our way, then temperatures warm back up again. We'll talk about where they're going with that Ultimate Satellite Solution 7-day forecast later on in the show. Justin.
All right, Dakota, we'll see you back in just a bit. Turn around, don't drown. That's the message from local leaders as flooding continues to cause problems, not just on the roads, but for some homeowners as well. Our Alana Wingate joining us live today from the newsroom with more on the message from our officials. Alana?
Justin, following yesterday's heavy rain and subsequent snowpack melt around our region, officials in Chautauqua County are asking everyone to take action now as rivers and creeks overflow, causing several flooding concerns. Speaking on WNY News Now daily broadcast yesterday, Chautauqua County Executive PJ Wendell says preparation is key.
We want all of our residents to realize we are, the towns, villages, and the county are working together to mitigate this problem, but right now we're at the mercy of Mother Nature.
While many like the ice for recreational activities, it can also be a nuisance.
Our creeks and waterways to make sure that we don't have this flooding, but you know, everybody, we like ice for ice fishing. Well, that ice jams and the water doesn't flow.
Among the big concerns for many is when water threatens people's homes, like here in Kyantone.
beware, be clear, what the status of your own home is, but don't venture into creeks or any type of waterways you're not 100% sure of. If you notice the water start to rise, evacuate, reach out to, whether it's the fire department, police agencies, let people know if you have issues. But please try not to, if you have large amounts of water, please not try to tackle it yourself.
So far today, dozens of calls to help homeowners with flooded basements have come in. Going forward, the county executive hopes to address areas of concern and help build out better infrastructures ahead of the next flooding event.
So we're working in concert right now with the Army Corps and other projects. We're going to continue. So again, we are contacting state and federal officials and asking for help, but it's a big project. It is going to be have a large dollar amount to it should those projects start to get underway.
However, that process is easier said than done, the executive says. In many cases, the federal and state government manage the waterways and works is out of the county's hands. Nevertheless, Wendell believes that it is important to advocate for these issues. Live in the newsroom, Alana Wingate, WNY News Now.
Alana, thank you for your reporting. And one other important note that we want to pass along, Wendell telling us that the Gerasi office building in Mayville remains closed Friday as crews work to restore power there following a pretty significant flood to the basement. Well, after inheriting the role from former Governor Andrew Cuomo amid sexual harassment allegations, Kathy Hochul now has secured the nod to run as the Democratic nominee for the full-length term of governor. Our Julia Gress reports.
Kathy Hochul was named the party's nominee for governor, receiving 85% of the weighted vote from delegates at the New York State Democratic Convention in New York City on Thursday. However, she may still face two challengers in the June primary, Jumaine Williams and Tom Suozzi. At the convention, Hochul's achievements since taking office were showcased for party members to celebrate. Amongst those at her side is former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton.
Let's show that democracy works, that it delivers results for people and makes life better, fairer, and more prosperous for everyone. That's what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are trying to do every single day. And it's what Kathy Hochul and Brian Benjamin are trying to do right here in New York.
Clinton then introduced Kathy Hochul, a fellow glass ceiling breaker, to the room.
I've known Kathy for a long time, and I can tell you something everybody is learning. No one will work harder for the people of the Empire State. Every county, every community. She is a governor for all of us.
The governor was eager to accept the nomination to prove that she can lead the state into a new era without the job being given to her.
Out of those divided times, that time in our history, each of these progressive movements move forward. Civil rights, women's rights, LGBTQ plus rights, voting rights, fair housing rights, environmental justice. We're all propelled forward.
Hochul believes Democrats will win a majority of the races come November, insisting that ideals will win out over right-wing bullying.
Every single corner is incredibly diverse and beautiful, beautiful state, and will draw the lines of separation between us and far-right extremism.
Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. Hochul touts achievements, including 400 new bills combating climate change, transparency in government, criminal justice reforms, and gun safety, just to name a few. And a New York State trooper who says former Governor Andrew Cuomo touched her inappropriately has now filed a lawsuit in the matter. The unnamed trooper was part of the former governor's detail. She's also suing New York State Police, as well as Melissa DeRosa, a former secretary to Cuomo. The trooper says in 2019, Cuomo, quote, placed the palm of his hand on her belly button and slid it across her waist to her right hip. She also accuses the former governor of repeatedly asking for her to kiss her on the cheek. Furthermore, he says a state police supervisor told everyone not to tell about the alleged behavior. Cuomo has denied any wrongdoing. A spokesperson issued a statement downplaying the allegations and suggested that he was being targeted in this probe. As WNY News Now continues, President Biden visiting Lake Erie in the latest push touting environmental investments. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent with the details next. And later, those with kids might want to check their cabinets. We have the info you need to know about a nationwide baby formula recall. Stay with us. WNY News Now. We'll be right back.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
Now is the time to make your real estate move. Call us to list your home in Cattaraugus County. Choose the #1 real estate team in Ellicottville. Call Team Pritchard, 716-575-SELL. The market is hot. Call 716-575-SELL today.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvanna Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
Brought to you by the Chautauqua Safety Village and the Jamestown Fire Department.
Welcome to Honest John's Pizzeria, where you are the most important customer.
Everything from freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has it all.
And don't forget the ice cream!
Order online today or check out our 2 great locations with buffets ready for every appetite.
Don't I have the best job in the world?
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
President Joe Biden visited Lake Erie yesterday, talking about how the bipartisan infrastructure bill is going to clean up our Great Lakes. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp reports on his plan going forward.
Thank you.
Visiting Lake Erie in Lorain, Ohio, President Joe Biden boasted about how $1 billion from the bipartisan infrastructure bill will help clean up our Great Lakes.
The historic investment we're going to make to restore the Great Lakes, strengthen the region's economy, provide clean drinking water, clean up our communities, and create good-paying jobs.
The majority of the money will go towards so-called areas of concern.
There are areas where pollution, as EPA director said, where pollution from industry, runoff from agriculture, poor wastewater treatment, put the Great Lakes and everyone who depends on them at risk.
The EPA says over the last 16 years, they've been able to delist 6 of these areas of concern, including Presque Isle Bay and Erie, which had trouble with waste disposal practices and pollution. It contributed to tumors in the bay's brown bullhead populations, as well as Deer Lake near Marquette, Michigan, which struggled with mercury contaminations from abandoned mines. Both have since been delisted as areas of concern after addressing these issues. But with this new investment in the Great Lakes, President Biden says it will work to complete 22 out of the 25 remaining areas of concern.
Dredging polluted sediment, restoring wetlands and habitats, making the water safer for swimming, fishing, drinking, providing habitats for wildlife and wildfowl. And the study found that every dollar we spend cleaning up the Great Lakes generates between $3 and $4 in economic benefit. That's a fact. And it's a really good investment.
Adding that investing in the Great Lakes is important for the people who rely on these waters.
We're rebuilding America. We're going to invest in America and build a better America than we found.
In Washington, D.C., Rachel Knapp reporting.
Rachel, thank you. And prices for most goods are soaring throughout the country, and the price of gas, well, it's no exception. Congressman Tom Reed spoke about rising inflation during this week's conference call with reporters. According to AAA, the national average of unleaded gas is now $3.52 a gallon. New York State's average is currently $3.73, while Chautauqua County sits at $3.64. The Corning Republican says he blames President Joe Biden and his administration due to their policies on domestic oil.
It is completely asinine to me that we have an administration in the White House under President Biden that is cutting off our supply access to our natural gas and oil supplies under America's control. It makes no sense other than pandering to the extremists of the Democratic Party represented by the extreme environmentalists, not those that are reasonable, but the extremists of the environmentalist party, section of the Democratic Party.
And experts say it doesn't look like prices will go down anytime soon. The FDA is warning parents to double-check labels if they're using powdered infant formula. The popular powdered brands at issue are from Abbott Nutrition. Products labeled as Similac, Alimentum, and Elecare may be contaminated. The FDA now investigating whether formulas made at a facility in Sturgis, Michigan could include dangerous bacteria. There have been reports of 4 infants who have been hospitalized and a death in 3 states. Now, the FDA says parents should avoid using formula if the first 2 digits on the infant formula's code are between 22 and 37, and if the expiration date is April 2020 or later. The FDA working with Abbott Labs to start a recall. And according to preliminary data from the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration, fatalities are on the rise nationwide. Our state correspondent Brendan Scanlon reports.
Well, next week is Pennsylvania Highway Safety Law Awareness Week, and with data showing an increase in traffic-related deaths, state officials and emergency medical professionals are urging motorists to drive sober, safely, and legally.
Safety on our roadways is everyone's responsibility.
Traffic deaths are. Well, next week is Pennsylvania Highway Safety Law Awareness Week, and with data showing an increase in traffic-related deaths, state officials and emergency medical professionals are urging motorists to drive sober, safely, and legally.
Safety on our roadways is everyone's responsibility.
Traffic deaths are increasing across the nation, up 10% here in Pennsylvania and 12% across the country.
This includes increases in fatalities for speeding crashes, distracted driving crashes, crashes involving 16 or 17-year-olds, as well as unrestrained fatalities.
PennDOT Acting Executive Deputy Secretary Melissa Batula says 94% of unbelted occupants who were killed in 2020 could have survived if they had a seatbelt on.
That's 305 lives that have been lost that could have been prevented by a simple act of buckling up.
Other major factors include distracted and aggressive driving, especially speeding.
Speeding directly impacts your ability to react to changing traffic conditions and changing roadway conditions. It puts you, your passengers, and others on the road at risk.
And if you think you're okay to drive impaired, you might want to think again.
Troopers and local law enforcement officers are receiving additional enhanced training to detect and identify impaired drivers.
Trust me, you would rather be safe in your vehicle or getting a ride from a friend or a rideshare service than needing a ride in one of our vehicles. Whether it's by air or ground, we're always here and we're ready to provide emergency care when timing is critical. But this number is simply too high.
Officials say nothing is worth risking your life or someone else's when you get behind the wheel of a car. So remember to put your phone away, obey those traffic signs, and drive sober. For more information on Highway Safety Law Awareness Week, you can visit our website, erienewsnow.com. At the state capitol, I'm Brendan Scanlon for Erie News Now.
Brendan, so important to talk about. Thank you. Coming up, we meet a new furry friend that's up for adoption in this week's Pet of the Week segment. And a little bit later on, preparations are underway to get the Mayville Ice Castle ready for tonight's lighting ceremony there at Lakeside Park in Mayville. An inside look at the process. But first, Dakota's back with a full look at our weather.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
This winter, let New York State take your breath away. Come be a part of it. Plan your winter getaway at iloveny.com.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
Well, welcome back. Wanted to give you a live look over Lakeside Park because, hey, you know what? We've got the Ice Castle lighting coming up tonight, so give you a nice look at Lakeside Park there. Got some snow falling, which is a complete 180 compared to what we had yesterday where it was raining and mild and, yeah, it's winter. So, one of the issues that we had this morning was obviously, the slippery roadways from the frozen water. And, we've showed this graphic numerous times, but it's nice to bring it back every once in a while to remind you kind of what happens here. So with the air temperatures above freezing, obviously we were in the 40s through Wednesday and Thursday. With that, we ultimately see the snow melt. So the snow goes onto the roadways. Then when the temperatures drop below freezing, it melts into it ultimately refreezes into a thin layer of ice. And that is why your car likely was very frozen this morning. I know mine was in my driveway. Like the doors were just frozen shut because of all the rain ultimately froze over. And there was some snow this morning, 7 inches in Forestville. That came from a Cocoras station, 6 inches in Mayville, 3.5 in Silver Creek, 3 inches in Casadega, and Jamestown about a ½ inch worth of new snowfall accumulation as of this morning. So all in all, not too bad out there. And the clouds are still around downtown Jamestown right now. As of noon hour, we're only at 19. This is a stark comparison to where we were yesterday. That northwest wind is the culprit. Why? Bringing in that colder air and the wind chill down to 9. So yeah, it's another cold day. So yeah, just bundle up out there because it is colder out there compared to what we've have been. So cold front swept on through. That's obviously why it's colder. Colder air is surging on in, but peeking way back there, you'll see our next storm system that will come our way. So the newest radar future scan shows you, yeah, we are going to see at least a couple more snow showers through the afternoon hours, but those will taper off. Then we see another round of snow showers developing overnight and then through the day on Saturday. And these snow showers are going to persist through the afternoon on Saturday. Then by the time we go into Sunday, all that snow lifts out and we should have a nice second half of the weekend. So additional snowfall totals going all the way through Sunday morning. Yeah, we're likely looking at about 1.5 inches to maybe upwards of 4 inches, especially on the highest hills. Now this also takes into effect today, tonight, and then through the day on Saturday. So yeah, just a little bit more snow on the way. Temperatures rise overnight. 16, that'll be early this evening. We rise 24 by tomorrow morning. Snow showers redeveloping, and it does turn windy. Now the next 7 days are coming up on the screen. So 24 and falling tomorrow. And again, that 24 will be right around morning. Hey, sunshine on Sunday, near 40, a much milder day Monday and Tuesday. And then some questions regarding the next storm system, either on Wednesday, rain or snow showers. But that still needs to be determined, Justin.
All right, I know you'll keep us updated as always, Dakota. Thank you. Well, in an effort to help our furry friends find a forever home, we're partnered with the Chautauqua County Humane Society for our Pet of the Week segment. Our buddy Clark has more on this week's featured furry friend.
Hi everybody, I'm Clark, and this is my buddy Mooney, who I will tell you is indeed a dog and not a werewolf. Mooney is an absolutely amazing dog. He is smart, he knows how to sit, he knows how to lay down, he knows high five. Maybe not right now, but he does. He is energetic, would love to go for walks, would love to go exploring. He gets on great with other dogs. Any dog, if you have a dog at home and you'd love to meet Mooney, we would need to do a dog meet. But he gets on pretty great with other dogs. He is a no cat kind of dog, and that's all right. Great with kids, just all around a really sweet, awesome guy. So if you would like to know more about Mooney, head on over to chqhumane.org and fill out an app for this guy.
All right, Clark, he certainly does look like a happy friend to have. To learn more about our friend Mooney, as he mentioned, chqhumane.org is the place to go. Well, next, the Mayville Ice Castle, it's getting ready for tonight's lighting ceremony that will kick off this year's Winter Festival. An inside look at the process to shape up that structure when we return.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Remember when you were a kid, huddled around the television waiting for your school to close? Well, we don't get snow days. When winter weather hits, count on the First Defense Weather Team for a look into the future where the snow is headed next. Live radar showing you the scope of the storm. And real-time reports from the field. So when it matters most, stay with First Defense Weather.
Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now.
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza. Yes.
Make a plan today.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Well, following a brief warm-up and heavy rains yesterday, those behind this year's Mayville Ice Castle were hard at work early this morning to bring the sculpture to life. Our Bronson Rasmussen with more from Lakeside Park.
Organizers with the Mayville Winter Festival, a decades-old tradition that brings a boost to local economy during the cold winter months, were concerned that this year's castle would not fare well during the warm-up. On Wednesday, volunteers buried the structure in a thick snowpack to protect it from rain. Once the skies cleared, crews started to pick away at the snow, revealing the polished ice blocks beneath.
Got to hope for good weather. You know, we're always up against the weather, as we were last week and this week. 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday was warm. Thursday was all rain.
As Nick Andriaccio and his wife Sally are among the many volunteers to make the whole weekend possible.
We covered it with snow, and as you can see the results, it protected it. So now we're resurrecting the castle today.
In the end, those behind the event say it's all about bringing the community together.
Well, it's a great remedy for what we've been through in the last 2 years, especially for the kids. The Chautauqua Lake kids and the Bose's kids and the volunteers from this community. Everybody's come together, and it's a great remedy for the last couple of years.
Bronson Rasmussen, WNY News Now.
Yeah, Bronson, thank you. Throughout the rest of the day, Nick and company will be carving out those few finishing details ahead of that lighting ceremony, which kicks off tonight at 6 o'clock in Mayville. You can watch that live, by the way, right here on WNY News Now and Channel 716. It's so great. And I think he has a good point there, Dakota. The last couple years have been kind of rough for so many people. And to be able to come together for the Mayville Ice Castle is so special, and it's such a long-lasting tradition, I think, in our community too. That no better time like now to come back together and to celebrate the winter and sometimes the lack thereof of winter.
We're actually, we're actually lucky that the ice castle, or at least the ice that they were building the ice castle with, survived the last couple of days. Because I know there was some questions about, okay, we don't know if it's going to survive with the warm-up and the melting, but fortunately it did.
Yes.
So.
Yes, some good news, the silver lining there, nevertheless. Well, we thank you all for tuning in today for WNY News Now. That's going to do it for us this week. Of course, news continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com and on our free mobile app. We'll leave you with this live look over Chautauqua Lake out there. Be sure to bundle up if you're heading out tonight. Have a great day.